The Raiziss Palchi Translation Award for the year 2010 goes to Paul Vangelisti for his translation of Adriano Spatola's book, The Position of Things, Selected Poems 1961-1992. Paul Vangelisti has brought to an apt culmination his long labor of love on and with, I should say, the poetry of Adriano Spatola. For instance, back in the 80s, he edited with Adriano the slim but important anthology, Italian Poetry 1960-1980, from the neo to the post-avant-garde. The book that he translated and edited is a cutting-edge book, which, if I may make the metaphor, is also double-edged, for it makes an important poetic experience, not only of Spatola, but a whole generation of avant-garde poets in Italy, available to American readers, and at the same time it does an important service to Italian readers who still, 22 years after Spatola's death, do not possess such a complete edition of his work. One reason for this is Spatola's deliberate cultivation of an isolated position. For all his coldly detached, anti-lyrical, intellectual demanding style, which I think we'll hear in a while, Spatola may have been the generously anachronistic last heir in Italy of the romantic idea of the pure poet. He did nothing else, he worked on nothing else. Spatola was a master performer of poetry, but he publicly read only sound poetry, reserving the reading of the linear poetry that you have in the book for a semi-private occasion. Para-surrealist, as he has been defined, he has a certain clownishness about it that I love, a peculiar clownishness, however, with a dark side. It possesses a certain virulence, a certain rebelliousness. Spatola was a critic of all ideologies. He was essentially a pacifist with a nonviolent anarchistic strain. The difficulty in translating Spatola's poetry lies even more in the syntax than in the lexicon, but the main challenge, lexically as well as syntactically, originates in Spatola's constant swerving between the high and the low registers of discourse. Paul Vangelisti has brought to his task his broad knowledge of Italian and American contemporary poetry, his own creative experience as a poet, and his long acquaintance with Adriano Spatola. I have been privileged to be for some years, one of the friends of Adriano, and I can say that the result of Vangelisti's work is that I can hear through his translation something that is very similar indeed to Adriano's voice. So I give the award to Paul.
First, I should thank Paolo Valesio and Jennifer Scapitone and Lawrence Venuti, who were the judges for this award. And to say that I started translating Adriano Spatola in 1969, when I was 23 years old, along with several other Italian poets. A book was given to me a magazine issue was given to me of contemporary Italian poetry by one of my teachers, Donald Davey, who told me, if you really want to be a serious poet, you ought to try translating. And this particular book, this collected poems, the project was started in 1996 and finished in 2008. So let me read a poem by Adriano. And he was born in 1941, we ought to say, and died in 1988 at age 47. This was from a posthumous collection. This is the last collection in the volume. It's called Assassins in Love. And there's an epigram at the beginning by another prominent Italian poet, Nanni Balestrini, who says of Spatola, and Paolo, I think, said it quite well, of one of Spatola's métiers, which was to publish, besides always being more or less being out of money. He compounded that by the only public thing he did besides reading poems was publishing other poets. So two ways not to make money in this or other cultures. And this is a little quote with an allusion, as my Italian friends have pointed out, from Dante. And it says, and the sixth is Adriano Spatola, who never had a real job except to print the songs of his friends, even the most tone deaf. Assassins in love. Pulled out of the water by the legs, recomposed on a compass, pardon me, I'll start again. Pulled out of the water by the legs, recomposed like a compass on a rug, soaked with a slimy humidity through the windows and doors left ajar for his happiness of a gasping, intelligent fish. The glassy look is just fiction, a function of the typewriter among books heaped along the hallway for a correspondence devastated by the psychological heat of the dark that is also a system of laughing or sneering in the emulsified face, splendid with liquid transparency, with an enraged inconsistency of a slippery and elusive cord tangled around the ankles of the coroner, swelling with activity, who whistles and sings out of tune. Here we resume the theme of execution, the analysis of fate and circumstance for the drowned man who erupts explanations in front of the assassins in love, his alertness to neglecting nothing of that which is yet to happen to him. Thank you.